Hello and welcome to another edition of Breakthrough. This is your host Olusegun Away. On this show, you are guaranteed to hear from those people that have gone from ordinary to extraordinary, people that have utilized different strategy, tools, techniques, and their mindset to become great and become a phenomenal. So you're welcome again to this great day, great moment for you to have an encounter with mind that changed the world and changed their own life. So, having as a guest today a beloved friend and one that is well accomplished in his work, in his life. And I'm talking of Dr. OTUN Rasheed, aka what's I can't remember your nickname again.
It's been a long time. I
So we call him Professor. So we it's gonna be an awesome time tonight to hear his own story, to hear about how he started from nobody to somebody. So let me just give you a brief bio about Dr. OTUN. He's famously known as OTUN Ismaila Rasheed Adedoyin, PhD, professional in creative arts and dramaturgy. OTUN lectures at the University of Louisville at the moment, but he started his journey from University of Lagos, and he was also a health and physical fitness person. That is where the whole thing started. He's going to share some stories about that. OTUN have been able to produce many film, many drama, and plays also, which has been sponsored by Lagos State Government, High Commissions of Nigeria. He received the Andrew Mellon Scholarship to do uh, the is a research scholar at Harvard University, and he has done some work in Cambridge, Boston, and also he has produced film that's really mind blowing, such as you must be mad, yes you. So that's a very uh, dramatic title for a film, for a play, and it did very well in 2017, the British Council and Lagos State Theatre Festival. So tonight, as you have seen the topic which we're trying to uh, share, from Hood to Harvard to Cambridge to Louisville and to the rest of the world. So, Dr. Otun, tell us about your background. How did this all started?
thank you very much, Mr. Olusegun Awe. Thank you so much. It's nice to see you after several years. It's going to about almost 2 decades now that we've seen.
Over 2 decades.
Over 2 decades. So, and thank you for having me here, and appreciate your viewers.
Yeah.
Talking about my background, interestingly, you are one of those who could also talk about my background, because you know where we started, how we started, and what was our motivation from beginning. I'm from Lagos, from the Ojora family in Lagos. I was born in Ajegunle, and as you know, Ajegunle in Lagos, Nigeria, is the melting pot of all cultures in Nigeria. Mention all cultures of the world you find in Ajegunle. And so I was born in Ajegunle. Ajegunle is notoriously known for being a home of the poor. It's also the home of creative minds, a home of raw talents, homes of intelligent, raw talent that needs to be refined, begging to be refined. And so that's where I was born, and I'm proud to be a product of Ajegunle. But by the time I started my primary school, I moved to Ebute Metta. So my primary school was at Lagos Mainland Local Government, primary school on Ondo Street in Ebutemeta. And from there, I moved to Ilogbo High School, another Jakonde school, and so Jakonde of blessed memory. May God continue to bless his souls, because without him, many of us who actually went to school may not see the four walls of the schools, if not for the effort of the former governor of Lagos State, then Lateef Jakonde, who died recently. And so from there, I moved to OTUN, another haven of raw talents again. While I was in Ajegunle, you have melting pot of all cultures, but in OTUN, you have a single culture.
Yeah.
But this is a culture that is deep, both in traditional values, traditional African belief system, traditional ways of living. And it is also notoriously known at that time as the haven of the toughest criminals in Lagos State, the hideouts of the toughest of criminals in Lagos State. So to be trained in Ajegunle, at a point in time, I lived a bit also in Mushi with my mom when she moved from my dad. So to live in Mushi, all these places that I mentioned, if whoever live in Nigeria, to know that somebody live in Ajegunle, then after time he moved to Mushi, then he now moved to
Oto. Yeah.
So Oto again, however, God was preparing me for the challenges ahead by taking me to these different places, because these different places taking me, they got me thinking as a human being, and they also provided the basis for survival. That survival instinct, the never say no, the determination to continue to pursue your dreams. And so from Oto, I got admitted to University of Lagos. But of course, I first worked in a bank for a brief period before, but I wanted to go to school. So I know the importance of not caring about the consequences of things while working, because while I was working, all my mind was to also further my school. But at that time, after my secondary school, that bridge period, I worked. But whenever I heard from many of my secondary school mates that, oh, have you heard from Tola? Oh, Tola is now University of Ibadan, or Jide is now at University of Nsukka, my head just goes gaga, and I got angry. I go to work with the mindset that I want to be sacked.
Yeah.
I just wanted to go to school. So I went to register at a school, a lesson at CMS.
Okay.
And so while I work at Martin Street, when I close by 5, I'll go to the lesson from 5 o'clock. I'll be there till 10 before going back home. Then when we anytime we are free, we all go to the library together. National Theatre Library, the Lagos Library, and Kadara to Igbo. So we go there to read and we challenge ourselves. And one of the greatest luck that for me I have was during my teenage age, the group of people I met, including you. That was why when I got my PhD, I dedicated my PhD to all these people that I met, and your name is there. Interestingly, my PhD thesis is right by my side.
Wow.
And you'll be shocked to see your name.
Yeah.
Among the people, this is my PhD thesis. And when I got my PhD, I dedicated it to this group of people during my teenage, because without them, there won't be any OTUN Rasheed, because they really shaped the man that is called OTUN Rasheed. Because during this period, this was the period when, so these are the names of my PhD, the people that, so I wrote it there, that to my wonderful friend, whom the Almighty God used to shape and sharpen my thoughts. So, and I put the names, Akinlade Babafemi, Awodeko Lateef, Akpanishile Ademola, Olajide Lukman, Awe Ahmed, Fasonya Hakeem, Ayinde Taofeek, Fagbayi Basit, Awe Olusegun, Akpanishile Lukman, Adeyemi Shehu. And so I dedicated it to all of you because while growing up, that period was very important. And I do tell my children that from 15 to 25, that period is what we call the building block period, because that is the period that all other structure is going to rest on. It is that pillar that is the pillar period that carry the weight of the entire life. And that period is important. It can make or mar the entire life. It can make it or mar it, because so that 15 to 25, so that period was very important for me. And I was fortunate to live among these young men who were also desirous of being great through hard work, through commitment, through dedication, through believing in God. And this period really helped because we engaged in a lot of arguments. And I never knew this argument would prepare me, because we argue from morning to night
Debate
on so many issues. And so when I got to University of Lagos, I just wanted to leave the banking job. So the first admission was for diploma in physical and health education. I wanted to specialize in sports journalism. So I went for 2-year diploma in physical and health education. After completing that, I heard about the Center for Cultural Studies, that there is a professional certificate in creative art. So I went there, I did a year program, got the certificate. And it was after that that the Department of Creative Arts was created at the University of Lagos. So I was among the first set of the Department of Creative Arts, University of Lagos, and I studied theater arts. After my first degree, I did my master's, and I was retained as a teaching assistant, graduate assistant, and eventually becoming lecturer, assistant lecturer in 2008. And I started my PhD also, which I completed in 2014, 2015 at the University of Lagos. And during this period, I also came to University of Georgia in Athens, US, as a visiting scholar. So that's so far for now.
Okay, so this is a wonderful story that you have shared now, and it brings memory of those days where young people are forming the future for one another by encouraging one another to be studious. I want to ask you, what are the main challenges that you face whilst pursuing your desire to become better and greater in life? What are the main challenges?
Well, for those challenges that for me, I consider that I face, first, the environment one was born in. You were born into an environment where you have to learn everything by yourself, particularly when it comes to education. When it comes to you pick a bit of informal lessons from your parents in terms of morals and so on and so forth. But then again, part of the challenges is to look up, not finding within your immediate environment inspiration,
role model.
A role model, and to start to look inward and start to create a role model in your mind or from the literatures that you have read. So the challenges of finding a role model is important to someone to inspire you, that you look up to and you wish you can be like, other than someone you don't wish to be like, which are probably the ones you are seeing around.
Common around, yeah.
And you don't want to be like that. You don't want to end the way they end. You don't want your life to go that way. So that's the first challenge. Then the second challenge is that perhaps sometimes we feel maybe if we're born into a bit more educated family, maybe we'll all be first class product, because all through the period of my schooling, I was also going to a lesson where I teach. And so I have to leave school by 4:30 to go to these lessons where I teach. because I need to teach to support my schooling, because to study theater art back then, it cost a lot, and I think it is still the same now. We have to pay for this, you have to pay for that. So I have to attend lessons. So there are courses where I had a B that I know I could have A, but of course I was not available. Maybe I was there for about 30 minutes and I escaped because I have to go to these lessons to teach in order to make some money to continue to pay for school fee, to pay for this, and to write some of the things that we are writing and that we wanted to produce. So we face that challenges. And like I said, the environment we grow up through, because during our time, the environment where we grow up, to speak fluently is even a dream one can imagine. Speak fluently in English language. And so I recalled when I first got my salary, the first thing I bought was a dictionary. And I was reading dictionary like someone reading a textbook, trying to learn almost all the words, the usages of these words, and so on and so forth. So basically, these were the challenges. But for us at that time, because we have a focus, we have a dream, and we are patient, we know that we will get there. So we really did not see them as challenges. We just realized that these are things that with patience, with continuous hard work and commitment to our focus, we will definitely overcome it.
Wow. So I remember that you are also a little bit entrepreneur at some point when you started the video club.
Yeah.
You're renting video and DVD.
Yeah, that's part of what we are talking about. This was also during the time that I was in school, because I need to engage myself. I need to find a way to pay for my school fee, to pay for the school resources and materials. And I spoke with my mom and I got some money. I rented a shop. And at that time, video, in Nigeria, the home video, so it's something that was popular. So I had a shop where we rent the CDs to people to watch the movies. So we go to the Lagos Island to buy the films, and then we rent it to people out. And through that, also, I was able to sponsor my school without resorting into to some illegal activities. I think sometimes when we see people who claim that, oh, it's because of poverty, that is why I decided to engage in these illegal activities, there are people going through all sorts of challenges, and they continue to be ingenious in their thinking, finding means by which to survive without necessarily engaging in illegal or violent activities or destructive activities. So at that time, I had to find a way to go to school. So we created that. And luckily again for me, when I got to University of Lagos, I wrote a play which was titled The Third World War. That was my first major play when I wrote while I was at the University of Lagos. And then I borrowed money from my mom, from different sources with whatever that I had, and I put about 30 people together. We started the rehearsal and the production, not knowing that this play is going to go to places. With this commitment, I wrote different letters of sponsorship, and I went to the Lagos state government houses distributing these letters. I went to, I think the governor of Lagos state then was Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and I read that the wife graduated from University of Lagos somewhere. So I started going to her office. Then she created an organization called New Era Foundation. So I started going to her office, and somehow I dropped my letter there. I kept going, people there, well, and then we started preparation for the play. I never knew that she read it, that she saw my letter. We never knew that she would be coming. And that was it. On the day of productions, on the day of our performance, we didn't know that the governor's wife would be coming with entourage, and we were even doing envelopes to distribute for people so that they can at least contribute something back. But around 4:30, before the production, around 3 o'clock, we saw some people came to the auditorium checking with the bomb detectors, checking everywhere. We thought, what were they looking for? But then we were told that the governor is coming, the governor's wife is coming, and local government chairman, they are all coming. And then an hour later, I saw the VC, and the VC came down, was screaming, "Who are you? How dare you invite the governor to the school without informing the vice governor?" We never thought. We just thought we are having a production. And that was it. And during this period, government and student union were always at loggerheads. So immediately we saw student union members, they came to the place and they were shouting, "How many student police go kill?" So people were the VC then called me and said, "If there is a riot in the school today, you are going to be held responsible." I said, "We didn't know the governor would come. We just I dropped a letter there. I never knew they would come." And that was it. And we had a very successful show. We got a lot of donations. And a month after, the play was again commissioned by the Lagos State government, and we performed it at Alausa in Lagos State. So, and that marked the beginning. And
So so what you're trying to say to me is that sometimes you just have to create your own pathway. And
I think the most important thing is you just have to believe it.
Believe it.
Be consistent in your determination, and to accept again that what people call failure is a journey towards success. And so a person who actually failed is a person who falls and refuses to stand again. You fall and you stand. You fall and you stand. And so when you fail, you must have learned something from that failure. And that itself is a step towards success. So you have to continue to believe it. Because I went to the New Era Foundation office several times. Sometimes the gateman will tell me, "Go back, you cannot enter, go this way," and so on. But you continue to write the play, to sit down and believe in yourself, whatever that you are doing. Because there is this man that says that the world belongs to the man with guts. God helps him. That the world belongs to the one with guts, somebody who has the guts. And all that you need is that guts and that commitment, that determination to continue to push it. Then you know that God is there to pull you through.
That's wonderful to hear, because a lot of people nowadays, once they try once and they fail, they will say, "Maybe I'll try again," and they fail. They will say, "Oh, I don't think it's going to work out." But in your own case, you try and try and try again until you do what is unthinkable.
We have heard of many achievements that the world has made today. They are product of failures, not product of success. They were product of failures, a lot of failures, a lot of crashes, and people continue that resilience that we have in human beings. And people continue to do that. And then today we enjoy it. We pick our phone and make calls today. Forgetting that some people made effort, they failed and failed until everything becomes a perfect thing that we enjoy today. So that is just it.
So next question is, what makes you most proud about your career so far?
Well, so far, let me again talk about the importance of providence.
Okay.
Because while we were growing up, because of the kind of beginning that we had, we really didn't have that this is the profession that I want to be in until when I started writing. So for me, what is my pride, I think my joy most was when I got a mail that I've been selected. My play was selected for stage reading at the Comparative Drama Conference in Baltimore. That was the first one, because when I wrote the play, I wrote the play, The Gods Are Still Not to Blame. There is a play by Olarotimi, The Gods Are Not to Blame. It's a popular play in Nigeria that everybody read. It's an adaptation of Oedipus Rex by Sophocles. And so the play was written in 1968 but was adapted in 1968 by Olarotimi. So I titled it The Gods Are Still Not to Blame. And so when I wrote the play and I heard about a competition for playwright in a conference, I submitted the play. And I got a mail that over 300 plays were received all over the world. So I thought, okay, my play will just be one of it, until the last minute when my play was selected. 5 plays were selected for the conference, and my play was among the plays selected. So then I was told I have to travel to the US. I didn't have a passport. I've never traveled before. And the journey started. So I went to get my passport. The same month I got my passport was the same month that I went for the interview. And people were telling me, oh, your passport is virgin. You don't have anything on it. You're just going to the embassy. Well, my rule is that, I'll go there. If they say no, they are not going to lock me up. So they are going to tell me, okay, take back the passport and you go back home. So I went there and I was asked, what do you want to go and do? I showed them the letter from the conference and everything. And I didn't even know that my passport will not be given to me when I've been given the visa. So at the end of the interview, the immigration officer gave me a white paper, and I stood there. I asked her, excuse me, where's my passport? You didn't give me back my passport. If you are not giving me visa, at least give me back my passport. The man looked at me and laughed because he could see that innocence in me. And he said, oh, sorry, I gave you a white paper. There's a place where when you fill the form, there's a place where you are going to pick your passport. Thank you. And that was how I left. And that marked the beginning. And when I came to the conference, I have about 5 professors that I need to do stage reading with them and put them through the language of Yoruba and some other things in the play. I felt so happy.
Wow.
And that was like a major break for me. And the second one was when I was selected for the Andrew Mellon summer program in Harvard. Because I was told that very, very few will be selected and all over the world. And Harvard has been a dream, something we heard about. And to find myself selected for such a thing, to come to Harvard. And so I just I look back at all the journeys, and I felt this is a great determination. And I applied for it about 5 times before I was finally among the people that was selected in 2018 for the summer conference workshop in Andrew Mellon sponsor workshop in Harvard in 2018. So, and having my PhD too is something that, of course, I look back. I know how we heard about PhD, and because I also grew up in a place where we've seen a lot of violence, I've been so much interested in violence. What is the cause of violence? Why are there increase in violence in contemporary time to the past? And what are the motivations, and what makes people love violence, even in films, in cartoons? And so my PhD title was Theater and Violence and Dramaturgy of Violence. So I was interested in the idea of violence. And
so this idea of violence must have been inspired because of the hood.
Yes, because of the hood. Because when you live in the hood,
you have to be tough, you have to be strong.
Yeah, you have to be strong. It is not considered as violence. It is considered as out of being a member of the hood. So You can't come from the hood. And I recall one day during our times in my university days, a student was stabbed with a pencil. And he was stabbed with a pencil. And the way he was crying, everywhere was looking at the hand. Somebody first looked at the hand, and the way the person was crying with her. Then when another person, probably who lived in Ajegunle or Mushi or Noto, looked at her and looked at her and said, "Why are you crying?
What's this one?
Get out of this place." You know, differences, because okay, a person who lived in Lagos Island or live in Mushi or Ajegunle now heard that somebody was stabbed with a pencil.
When I've seen someone that is stabbed with a knife and cutlass.
What about somebody who first stabbed himself with a knife before fighting? So you know, having seen all those things while growing up, draw my attention to violence in so many ways.
To research in violence.
So my research work is on violence. And so I'm working on dramaturgy of violence in films, in stage plays, in cartoons, and how is contributing to violence in contemporary times.
Okay. So tell me about some of your successful projects and the drawback you face in trying to execute it.
Well, so far, let me say, to God be the glory. Like I said, for me, I don't, things that could be considered as drawbacks, I don't see them as drawbacks. I see them as part of the journeys and part of what you have to withstand, part of what you are going to face. But I've had quite a lot of successful projects. I've published about 8 plays, and I have 2 that are already in the movies, in the Nollywood. The first one I did was When the Dream Dies. When I wrote When the Dream Dies, it's a play. And when I wrote the play, it was the Yoruba movie Nollywood industry picked it, and they titled it Ti Alabaku, a Yoruba movie at that time. So it was produced. So I felt this is something that just started like a game, and here we have it already. We stage it at the University of Lagos, and before I know it, a movie maker picked it and turned it to a Yoruba play. Wonderful. Another interesting part is when I wrote a play titled Our National Flag. I wrote the play within a day. And at that time, I never knew that we will have all these challenges that we're having in Nigeria. I was just considering the Nigerian national flag, green, white, green. And I was wondering, how relevant is it? Do we need to change it? Do we need to add some things to it? Are we in contemporary time, which world just thrives on peace and agriculture alone? And so I started looking at the Nigerian national flag. And I was asking in the play, what green, white, and green is our national flag? And what does it represent? Do we need to look at it again? Do we need to add something to it? Could it be the reason for what is happening to Nigeria as a nation? So when the play was written, and I was surprised the way we staged it at different places. But a very interesting play, very small play I want to talk about that I also find very interesting is a play titled The Garment. One of my colleagues at University of Lagos told me that there is going to be an audition for playwright by MFM, Mountain of Fire and Miracle Ministries. And they wanted a playwright to write a play about the ushers, that they are having problems and challenges with the ushers of the church. And so they want to write a play because they are having a major seminars for all the ushers of the church. So, and he gave me the address somewhere in Ikeja that I can go there, go for the interview, that there are people there. So I went for the interview. We were about 7 or so that went for that were there for the interview. And then they asked us, give us about 15 minutes to think of a play or something I want to write about ushers. And I came out with the title The Garment. And because I felt that the ushers wear a garment in the church, and that garment, for me, I considered it the garment of Christ. That when you wear that, you represent Christ. And so your outward appearance, your behavior, and everything should be Christ-like. And to be Christ-like means to be compassionate, to be humble, to be patient, and all those wonderful attributes of Christ. And so I created a play and I titled it The Garment. So when we were called in to come and defend our play, after speaking, the person first asked for my name. I said, my name is Rasheed. They look at this is a Muslim. Well, I'm one of the other people that are members of the church and the rest.
Muslim name too.
After about 15 minutes about the play, one of the people interviewing us just stood up and screamed, "Praise the living Jesus." How was it? And they told me, young man, we are going to accept your play. And I left that place with 400,000 naira.
Wow. Wow.
First payment to start and write the play and get it ready.
Wow.
And before I know it, I wrote the play, and we were told that we are going to produce the play at the MFM headquarters along the Ibadan Express Road. And we presented the play. We were paid another sum of money for the performance, and it was just like a miracle. So that again was another wonderful thing, and I published the play. I donated copies to the ministry. So a lot of other works that I've done. My play. This is another play titled Aruba Oshun, and it's a play that I also look at, and it's published. It has been staged in different parts of the world, and it has been staged in many schools in Nigeria. My play, The Gods Are Still Not to Blame. This play, when I wrote the play, I knew that the play would go places because there is already The Gods Are Not to Blame, which is a very popular play in Nigeria. So as a young man growing up too, you must learn how to stand on the shoulder of great people. In order for you to see
far.
So Olarotimi is a household name in Nigeria. One of the first when it comes to directing, when it comes to playwriting. And it belongs to the class of the Soyinkas, the Oluwabafemis, the Femi Osofisons, the Bode Osoyin of this world. And so the play, The Gods Are Still Not to Blame, looks at the issue of The Gods Are Not to Blame by Olarotimi is an adaptation of a very popular play in the classical period written by Sophocles, and it is titled Oedipus Rex, that is King Oedipus. So when he adapted the play to Nigerian setting in 1968, I read the play. I felt this play was adapted in 1968. Is it still relevant in contemporary time? So I felt, let me bring the story of 1968 and look at it again in contemporary time. Then my own thought in the play is an affirmation of what Olarotimi is saying. And that's why I call it The Gods Are Still, because his own play is The Gods Are Not to Blame. And I still believe that the gods are still not to blame. Because the play deals with the issue of destiny, it deals with the issue of man in search of the truth. And I believe that what is called destiny is a summation of human actions, inactions, and guided by providence. And so many of the things we ascribe to destiny today are definitely product of human actions and inactions. And so I subscribe to the existentialist idea that man determines his own destiny, and that man has a major role to play. God has given us eye. Whatever you use your eye to look, to search, to see, you cannot blame God for giving you that eye. God has given you hand. You cannot blame God when you use the hand to commit crime. So because he has given you brain to also control all this. So I look at the concept of destiny in the play and start to challenge certain issues or what human beings are called destiny. So the play, when I wrote the play, I was shocked when I was called from a university in UK, and that one of their graduate students is using my play and they want to interview me. And so the Department of Classic Studies at the university in UK, I want to check the name of the university, so that University of Bristol in UK. And so the play becomes something that was done. And again, it was a colleague of mine also contacted me, and the play was made into a film. And so we have it, the Nollywood, you can check it online. The gods are still not to blame. Baba Wande, all the major film actors in Nigeria also took part in the play. And so it became something that people know, and many schools here in the US and in Nigeria are also reading the play.
Okay.
And so it's an
Next question is: are you doing a project, or you're planning to do a project with Netflix or all the social streaming sites?
Well, as it is presently, I'm not thinking of that, but I have a project that I'm working on. I have a project that I'm about to create, which is titled Play Doctor of the Play Repairer. And I call it the Dramaturg's House. The Dramaturg's Clinic is a clinic where we repair plays, just as the mechanic repairs cars. The mechanic is not the one that makes the car, but it can repair cars. So also, as a dramaturg, as a literary dramaturg, we are also working on play repairing. So I'm creating a workshop, a body, a group where we repair plays. People come with some people have their plays that have been written, and so they bring the play to the doctor to look at areas where we consider that the play probably may be sick and needs care, needs to be rearranged. And so we have the play doctor. Some people have ideas of plays, they cannot write it, and they can tell you the story. And so you can take the story from them and help them to make it like a midwife that take care of that pregnant woman and be sure that there is a successful transition. So we also in in the dramaturg house, we also do that. Some people have great stories because there are so many great ideas in the grave. Many people die procrastinating. People have a lot of stories that they want to tell. And so if we have people who have wonderful stories, we can record it, then sit down and turn it into a wonderful play. And it becomes a baby that the person can carry and say, oh, this is my baby. We act as a midwife, as an intermediary between that person with the idea and the formation of that idea into something concrete, something people can see, people can enjoy. And some people also have plays that they have written, and they may need a play doctor, a play repairer, someone who will look at the play and begin to pieces all the elements of the play, the performance and the rest, to see areas that need dramaturgical inputs. So that is the project that I'm doing presently.
Wow, wonderful. So if one's life experience, like the way you have described the growing up in from Ajegunle to Ibutemeta, the drama of the day the governor's wife visited your show when you're being threatened by the VC and the student union are fighting, that's a play on its own.
Of course, it is.
That's a story.
Play that is still coming.
The day that governor the boy that was threatened by the VC, that could be the title.
Well, it is still a part of a memo that is coming. I have a personal memo that I'm writing, and it's titled "The Plight of a Lone Ranger." That's the title of my memo that I'm planning to publish. It's titled "Plight of a Lone Ranger," and so I've seen myself as a Lone Ranger from from beginning of time. My mom was told that she's going to have a twin, and here comes somebody who is not a twin, is a lone ranger. I've been a lone ranger all along.
Wow.
And I want to talk about this journey of a lone ranger in the memo that is coming.
So, what's your perspective about this, all this small skit which they are creating online now, with everybody becoming an instant star?
It's wonderful. It's wonderful, and it shows that the world is growing, and it shows that that is why, for those who can put their head down, the world is there for them to conquer. Let me give you an example. Brother Shaggy was my student at the University of Lagos. He was in my play. He played the leading role in You Must Be Mad. Yes, you 2017. We did the play at University of Lagos, University of Ibadan, and we also did it at Lagos Theatre Festival. While a young guy in school is somebody who can pick a 3310 phone and can create a lot of things. He's multi-talented as an artist, as a theater artist, as a visual artist, as a dancer. But of course, he didn't waste this talent. He kept putting it into practice. When you have a small idea, it's ready to craft it. So, but sometimes you find people. I've seen somebody who come to meet you and say, sir, I'm looking for the phone number of Professor Femi Oshoviso. And the person has a phone in his hands. This is something that the person can check.
Can Google it, yeah.
And does not know that through that you can. Sometimes I'll just say, but you have a phone with you. Type Olufemi or Femi Oshoviso's phone number, and the person will type it and they'll see it. I said, can I call this? I said, call the number, and they call, and the professor picked the phone. See, sometimes we have that in our hands. So what we see in contemporary time with different skits, different things coming out, is a product of technology. And technology and art, they are meeting at a fast rate. The marriage between technology and art in contemporary time is moving. And that is why you see a lot of video games, a lot of films, a lot of skits coming up. And so the world is there for a person with great talent to conquer. So, and someone who has, so there is a lot of people with a lot of brain, and there was no outlet for them to do that. But with this technological advancement and very cheap and available to people to explore, then we begin to see this new development, new technology being embraced by people. And it's easier to do, it's cheaper, and the market is there also. If you do something wonderful and you continue to do that consistently, because it is not just doing it once and you go to rest on your horse, but you continue to do it. Persistence. And then within time, you find that you have done something wonderful. And so that is what, for me, it's something that we need to embrace, is the new world. The world we are going to now is going to be a great world of technology. It's going to be a great world of art. And gone were the days when, art borrowed from life. Today, art is now at the forefront. Art is the one that is now giving life ideas. Now, many of these super artists, you see them after they do certain things, everybody in life start to do it. You see a particular dance in a musical show, then people start to dance like that. You see artists wear certain kind of cloth, certain kind of design, then people start to do it. Artists greet a certain way. People talk, oh, I'm a Malian. It's a product of an artist. So you begin to see many of this. It is not new. It has been there from the beginning of time. And that was why at the beginning, Plato, one of the philosophers in the classical era, one in his book, The Republic, he cautioned about the art in a society, because the artist is very powerful, and the artist can take the society thrice away from the truth. He can create something that is not it, and people believe it. I can put a controversial issue down now. I know it's going to be controversial to you. Today, if we see Christ, we all know him.
No, we can't recognize him because it has been the story, the Israel image has been twisted along the way.
Of Christ now, and I show my children, they will know him. They recognize him. They say, "Oh, this is." You go to churches, you see the picture of Christ hanging in the wall of the churches. That is a creation of an artist.
An artist, impression.
So, and the artist create that impression, and today all of us have accepted that image as that of Christ today.
Yeah.
And so that is how an artist can be so powerful to reconstruct the reality. And so, and that is what we are seeing today. The artists so much have power that they can reconstruct the society and create a new reality.
Okay, so I want to ask you a question. What do you do before that you have stopped doing in order for you to get better?
What was I doing before? Well, I don't have much.
What you think is not helping your life or your career. It could even be people that you used to have in your life that are not helping the progression of your life, that you have had to make a firm decision, because we are talking about success now. You have to win some and lose some.
One of the logs that I have is I've been very, very selective all my life.
Okay.
I've been very, very selective in terms of I don't allow friends to choose me. I choose my friends. And I've realized that a genius is a person with 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. That's what this thing says. That a genius is someone with 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. To perspire means to sweat. To sweat, to carry out the actual work. A genius is not somebody who has so many ideas. I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. No, a genius is somebody, he has an idea. Then he perspire, he followed it up with all the sweat. Not having so many ideas at a particular time, because there are so many great ideas in the grave. So many great ideas buried in the grave. Because the person who embodies this idea probably has so many ideas. I have friends who have written wonderful books in their mouths. Every time you talk, you say, "Oh, I have this book I'm writing. Oh, it's going to be this wonderful." The next time you speak with the person after a month or 2 months, he tells you another great ideas. And he said, "I have this idea of a work that I want to do." Another one, the one he told you 2 months ago, he has not done it.
Wow.
So people with, so a genius is not somebody with so many ideas, but it's someone with 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. And to perspire is that action. So the major thing one of the things I know I used to do before that probably I'm not doing now, I feel pain about it, is that moment of tranquility. I used to create that. Because I can spend an hour or two, just go to somewhere, quiet moment, reflecting. No disturbance, just to reflect about life, about existence, about my existence, about my end, about my beginning, about so many things that that moment of tranquility. And I come back like a newborn and refresh, away from the struggle of this life. So, and that is one of the things that I think I have not been doing regularly now, which I wish to get back. One of the things I also stopped early in life is procrastination. I realized that the moment you have idea, it's good for you to start it immediately. When you procrastinate, the idea may be a gift that God wants you to start immediately at that time. Yeah. And when you procrastinate, you just find that you look at your side and you find people doing it. I have had idea of something that I want to write, but because I procrastinate, something came up. No, an event came up in the world that I felt, wow, if I had done this thing 2 years ago when I have the idea, because this thing would have been something that everybody refers to today. So sometimes, so you have to struggle against procrastination. You have to stay focused on a single idea that you have in order to complete it before you put a lot of other things that distract you away from that. So far for me, in terms of friends, I cultivate friends a lot. I cultivate friends because I've always been somebody who wants to select friends that are better than me, so that at least there's something I could learn from them. I want a friend that I could engage in argument, I could engage in discussion, I could learn from them. And I also want to be somebody who also inspire those that are coming. I don't want to say those below, but those that are still coming to inspire others. So, and that's what I can say.
Okay, so next question is where where do you feel most comfortable? At home, at work, or at play? Where do you feel most comfortable?
When I'm alone. So maybe because I'm a playwright and my work involves a lot of solitary engagement. While I walk around, I look at the way people speak, the way they talk, the way people argue, the way people laugh. I pick all that from the society. But my most comfortable moment is when I'm with myself alone. So when I'm alone with the laptop or with my pen or with book, I could be alone like that for a month without missing anybody. As long as there is no problem, I hear from them that all is fine. I could be alone with myself. So I am a loner. I enjoy that private moment alone where I can. So I recalled when during my period of marriage, my friend at that time, you know him, Dr. Femi Akinlade, he called me and he said, "How are you going to cope? That is my major worry. Because marriage means you now have someone that you have to be with somebody." And so one of the things she called my wife to a corner and told her is that, please, when she wants to be alone, when he wants to be alone, this is the only way you can enjoy him. Let him enjoy that is private moment that he wants to be alone with his laptop or with his book. So don't worry. So I think for me, that's what I think I enjoy most. Being alone.
Your lone moment is your creative moment.
Yeah, that's the period when the muse also descend and then you can perform at optimal level.
So what are you learning now to make you better, to get you to the next level?
Interestingly, I'm doing my second PhD as I'm here in Louisville. I did my first PhD. I completed it at the University of Lagos in 2015. As I'm talking, I'm also doing another PhD, second PhD, which is an advancement of what I did in my first PhD, because my first PhD was simply theater and violence and dramaturgy of violence in selected Nigerian plays. There, I look at dramaturgy of violence. I look at how playwrights create violence. I look at violence from the perspective of a playwright. What do a playwright think when he's creating violence? So, but now I'm extending. So I'm extending. Although I'm focusing more on the work of Harold Pinter. Harold Pinter was a British playwright, Nobel laureate in 2005. He died in 2008. And I'm looking at his work. I'm looking at violence, crime, and mental health. So I'm looking at that in the works of Harold Pinter. I'm looking at violence, crime, and mental health. Because we are talking about violence, we have to think about the mental health of the people. Look at how pandemic has affected the mental health of everybody in the world.
Yeah.
One way or the other, we have been affected, we have been tilted in the way we think. The way we think has changed. And so, there is violence, there is argument, although there is argument whether there are more violence in contemporary time than in the past. I know some people say no, there is no, the violence now is not as terrible as it used to be in the past. And there are people say no, the violence in contemporary time is worse than in the past. But we have to remember that the rate of these things are changing, and the instrument of war has changed, the language of war has changed, the language of violence has changed. And so I'm interested in violence, crime, and mental health, and I'm looking at it from the work of our Pinter. I'm also interested in dramaturgy of violence in cartoons, in video games, because there are so many video games in contemporary time that deal with violence.
Yeah, I remember those video games you used to rent out, and what's it called? Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Back
So
in
that was, when we grew up watching Tom and Jerry, we didn't know that we're watching a form of violence between these two funny characters.
yeah.
But again, so you find many of the cartoons of contemporary time. There is a group that represent good, another group represent evil, then they invaded the earth, then there is a good group, and then there is violence. The bottom line in it is there is violence. And so while we watch these cartoons, while we play these video games, there is a lot adrenaline that comes into it as we watch. We learn a lot of things from these films, from these cartoons and the rest. So, and how are these impacting on our mental state? And how are these also increasing the rate of crime in the world? So, so those are some of the things that I'm doing presently. And I have some works, some plays that I'm also writing in contemporary that I'm doing presently that deals with contemporary challenges and issues affecting the world.
Okay, so should we expect something to come up in Hollywood and the Grammy Award from you in the future to come?
Well, I would say that as long as we keep working, definitely we'll get to that point. Definitely we'll get to that point.
Yeah.
There is no way you continue to, when you are consistent. If you read the life of all the great people, both in the arts, in the film, in the cinematic world, for a person to be recognized either in the Hollywood industry, to be called a Nobel laureate is a product of consistency, a product of continuous effort. So the Soyinka of today, the Bernard Shaw of the past, and many others that we all over the world, the Otomillas of today, they didn't just start one day and become what they are. It is a consistency, a continuous product. Harold Pinter has been writing plays since 1957. He was given a Nobel laureate in 2005. If you look at 1957 to 2005, you can see the years. So it takes a lot of continuous effort, continuous writing, a deepening of ideas, and little by little, people recognize your efforts, and it will get to a point people say, "Yes, this is it." So, we have a target for that big world, and we are going to get there.
Okay. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. So, yeah, our time is well spent now, and I really appreciate this moment with you. It's an eye opening, and this is the beginning of many to come because I'm still going to bring you back for the viewer to come and hear another side to your stories and what is going on. And so, if anyone wants to reach out to you, what's the best approach on your LinkedIn, your Facebook, or
Well,
internet?
I'm in all the social platform because, like I said, you have to be part of this world.
Yeah.
if you want to continue to be relevant. So my Facebook page is there, Rasheed Otun. You can check me. I'm there on my linked is there. You can see Otun Rasheed also on my linked. And then my email is otunrasheed@gmail.com. That's I have other official email, but at least you can reach me through that. I think the email is about the best way to communicate
Getting
and
with you.
get
So,
across. Then we can link up because the word is there for the artist to link up. You continue to open the coast to bring in more ideas, and we have a lot of work to do.
all right. Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate this interview with you. It's such an awesome moment. Before I go, I just want to just remind our audience about some of the highlights of what you mentioned here about your life and how you were able to overcome failure. And one of the key points you said you bought your first, uh, you bought, you used your first salary to buy a dictionary. That one is a take home. It's a good one to do. That you invest in yourself. And one of your also the key here is that you never give up. You keep trying. You said the word belonged to the creator. You
The
can
one
create
with guts.
the
The
one with the
one
God. Yeah, the
with
word
the one with
belongs to the
God.
one with God.
God
Yeah.
helps him.
God help the one with the God help him. So, yeah.
Yeah,
So you also mentioned part of your success is resilience. You're
yeah.
very resilient. You also mentioned that providence also play a part,
The major role. Yeah.
major role, and taking action and being motivated, being creative, having your alone time, and helping others people, believing in yourself, being selective about your friends and all that, and
Important.
aspiration and perspiration. So these are wonderful words and wonderful key and strategy to succeed and to do well in life. And I believe that the sky is no longer the limit; the galaxy is where you are going. And may God bless you and
Thank you so
God be
much.
with you. Thank you for being part of Breakthrough Show. Maybe one day we will see ourselves in Hollywood. We've done Nollywood. Now it's Hollywood. So we're gonna do
I'm
from
moving
the
there.
we're gonna do a show from the hood to Hollywood. We've done
Yeah,
from the hood
definitely.
to Harvard. They will be from the hood to the Hollywood. So God bless you, and I will see you around again. Take
Thank
care.
you so much. It's been
All
nice
right.
to be here
Nice
with
to meet you.
everybody. Thank you.
Okay. Bye bye. So, viewers, really appreciate your time. I know you probably will have something else you could have been doing by now, but you show up on this show. This is Breakthrough Show. I'm your host Olusegun. It's such a pleasure to be with you. If you need coaching support or you want to be part of any of our events, please send me a text and join me on this platform next Monday night. We're going to bring somebody else that is going to inspire you to greatness. Till then, you're a breakthrough maker. God bless you.